Sit down, everyone. Grab some snacks, maybe some popcorn, or maybe just listen to this while you do dull work. It's story time with the one and only Yii Arknights. Today, ladies, gentlemen, and any government agency spying on me, I'm gonna tell you about how I got into Arknights. Oh, you're the new secretary. Can you take these documents to Kelsett's office?
Okay.
Thanks. Wait, isn't she in high school? Is this even legal? I mean, if I was her age, I would be enjoying my youth rather than doing this. I had very simple beginnings getting into Arknights. I was an Azure Lane player at the time, and before all of you start collapsing on me, I was purely free to play and only played it because it had anime girls. Not even for the Kuma reasons, so I wasn't really attached to Azure Lane because if I play a game, I want to actually play the game, and Azure Lane's gameplay is basically non-existent. Outside of the auto battle, the gameplay was mostly staring at your main screen and looking at your live 2D art collection with very heavy quotations. But as I said, I was free to play, so I never actually had any of the Mona Lisas or Starry Nights. Then one day, my friend introduced me to this hit game called Arknights, developed by Hypergriff. I enjoyed playing tower defense, so I downloaded it and had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I was beating the game, which is all that mattered. I did my first 10 pull, got Angelina and Spectre as my 6 stars and 5 stars, and while most informed people would immediately try re-rolling for a Silver Ash or Exu for an optimal start, I was part of the ignorance is bliss population, refusing to use outside sources. So while everyone everywhere else was debating whether Angelina was the worst starter 6-star, I was clearing stages and eventually promoted her to Elite 2. And then came CC Beta. CC Beta was the most fun I've ever had in a CC, mostly because I didn't do any preparation beforehand and went in completely blind and got my ass kicked. I thoroughly enjoyed Arknight's tower defense mechanics, and experiencing CC and taking more risks to challenge yourself was grueling yet enjoyable. It was also one of the first tower defenses that actually made me think in a while, since most other games would usually have a pinnacle unit that you would spam and beat the game. That was just the right level for the game to be challenging, but not get beat down too hard. I remember staying up all night and into the next day for daily reset, excited to beat the next daily Risk 8, even though there were only 2 daily maps that rotated. Risk 8 is pretty much nothing to me nowadays, but with my roster back then, sometimes I'd be molding for 2 hours just to get all my daily rewards. The permanent map was similar to the daily maps in that, in general, I loved optimizing my strategy down, and even though I only got Risk 12, I'm still pretty proud of myself for beating that at that level with that roster. Throughout all of CC Beta, my E2 Angelina became the core of every strategy I did, and man, did she deliver, which is why I cherish her so much. This was also when Kyo was on his break to study for his exams too, so I couldn't just look up his easy guides on YouTube and call it a day. After CC Beta, I was mentally scarred and swore with my fist in the air that I would not let the next CC get to me. So I actually did some research on the next CC, got some broken 6 stars like Silver Ash and Aya, and my eyes fell upon Project Ark's CC Barrenland Risk 27. Compared to today's CC Max Risk clears, it's an RNG shifter stallfest, which is not really up there with something like CC9 Max Risk or CC5's Max Achievable Risk or Blade's 9 Op Max Risk, but for the time, it was still an incredible clear to watch. And the editing and music timing fit so well that it inspired me to boss up and get better at the game. I wasn't a whale at that time, so of course I couldn't replicate any max risk clear since most of the time I didn't have half the ops on the roster. I also started making YouTube videos when CC Pirate started to join the video contest for free merch that I needed because one of the rewards was a Chen mousepad, which by the way I still don't have a mousepad for my mouse. Those videos got no views at that time, so that career went nowhere. It wasn't until CC3 when I actually started making better videos with an actually decent mic, and hey, I copied a max risk clear with some slight optimizations. Pretty nice. During this time period, I also hated guards with a passion, specifically ones that I considered brain dead. From there on, I kept making those YouTube videos because my channel actually had more than 2 subscribers that were my friends, and it was growing really well for someone in the AK content creation sphere. I tried doing some unique clears with my roster, like my CC6 and CC7 videos that are in that one playlist I have that contains all the cool clears I'm proud of. After CC7, I picked up Vanguard Knights because I thought that was cool. I also did my best clear of all time, which was the R88 fighter to little 100% damage, which you should go watch, by the way. Most of you probably think I'm a true sweat at the game, like Silvergun, Tums, or Danbo beating every stage with their respective niches, but honestly, I've realized lately that I don't get a lot of enjoyment from beating C and Vanguard records. The aspect of a clear that gives me the most enjoyment is simply seeing one of my crackhead ideas actually work out, like Conviction stunning Suzerain so that Suzerain doesn't do damage, or Blemishine killing the big crocs in the blue box. I love doing downright gross ideas like that, but the game is getting simplified with HG releasing more and more operators whose entire kit is to just deal damage, so it's harder for me to think up a clear that actually interests me. I don't see myself playing the game seriously until more stages are released where I can do something so stupid it works out, but when I finally get that clear idea though, you already know I'll be molding. Angelina, you know you don't have to follow me everywhere just because you're my secretary. I guess you can do whatever you want right now. I mean, I'm just having lunch with Amiya. It's nothing that important. My channel is heavily gameplay based, so I'm sure many of you are at least interested in gameplay and want to get better. This section isn't going to be me listing out my infinite Arknights wisdom upon you mortals, because the fundamental optimizations and techniques you do are map dependent, which means, as with anything, the best advice I can give you is just practice and play the game, but that advice is vague as hell and doesn't really mean anything. You guys probably haven't picked up a specific niche you want to play, and that's completely fine. What's great about Arknights is that strategy is conceptual, so you just have to practice the concepts and then apply them everywhere else. The practice itself is pretty simple. Clear stages using a set of ops, and refine those set of ops to be harder on yourself the more you get comfortable with them. Literally anyone at any account level can do this. You don't even need a specific niche knight to do this with. For example, I used to clear a lot of stages with a general squad that included Silverish and Ea, and then I realized I was using those two as crutches to carry me, so I restricted myself from using them from then on. After that, I also banned brain-dead guards like Thorn, Surtur, and Mountain from being in my squad too. And you basically keep adding operators to that ban list, and with enough experience, you will have gotten better. For those of you with decently built accounts, max risk CC daily maps without Ling are also good practice. I actually wouldn't recommend diving into a niche knight right off the bat, specifically because most categories require a lot of investment, which if you're not a whale would really suck for your account. Something cheesy message about enjoying the journey and play the game because you like it. Yeah, that's about it. See ya. I think she's a really hard worker. Maybe a little too hard, but it's alright. She can always learn to relax. Actually, now that I think about it, she deserves a promotion.